Hey, what's up, everybody? So, buddy of mine just messaged me, and they were asking me about dinosaurs and stuff like that because they know I believe in the Bible. And I'm just reminding people I don't ignorantly believe in the Bible. You know what I mean? So it's not out of ignorance. But back to the subject on dinosaurs. So, in school, they taught you about, the rock layer and all this stuff and how dinosaurs are millions or whatever, billion, whatever. So, old, But there's something that they didn't teach you. There was an other point of view, and it was a scientific point of view, but it was brushed under the rug, and it wasn't taught in the schools. It's like they wanted you to just know that one way. And that also kind of goes against what the Bible says, that the earth is thousands of years old and not millions of years old. But I'm going to explain to you this scientific point of view. Now, it's all based on facts, though. Facts and actual studies and that took place. So these theories are based on facts as well. Just like those other theories were based on said facts. Now, I'm going to tell you this, and then you can decide. You can decide for yourself if you want to believe the theory that you were taught in school, or if you want to believe the theory that I'm about to teach you. And remember, it's based on scientific facts and evidence. Some of these words might be complicated, but if you don't understand it, you can look it up later. But you'll definitely get the gist of it when I read it to you. Anyways, this is some stuff that I researched, copied and pasted, mixed with some of my own thoughts on it. But so this is all real stuff here. And let's see. It says, now I said I believe Earth and dinosaurs are thousands of years old, not millions or billions. And I believe that these giant creatures were extinct in the flood, and that the whole Earth flooded. Okay, any volcano would erupt, and that would cause all those volcanoes to erupt, which would help to prove the point that was made by numerous scientists. Now, the definition of the behemoth says a huge monster or creature. Now, the word or term dinosaur didn't even exist until the 1800s. So that term came later on. Dinosaurs were the first of God's work. This is what I get out of this, because you read Job chapter 40 verse 15 through 24. It says, "Behold, behemoth." Remember, the word dinosaur didn't exist. This is what they call a large, huge, monstrous beast, like a big creature. And it says, "Which eats grass like an ox." It says, "Which I made you as I made you. He eats grass like an ox. Behold, his strength in his loins, and the power in his muscles of his belly. He makes his tail stiff like a cedar, and the sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are like tubes of bronze, his limbs like bars of iron. He is the first of God's works. He is the first of the works of God. Let him who made him bring near his sword." So right here, this is telling you that the dinosaurs, those big behemoths, were the first of God's creations. The huge monstrous creatures were the first of God's creations. It says, let him who made him bring near his sword. Right there, it's telling you. So it's confirming that. It's going in the Bible. Now we're going to get deeper into it. Now listen, we're getting into the science right here to support this, okay? Now, it says, now you go in Genesis, it doesn't get too into detail, but he made beasts and the creatures of the air and everything first. That's what he did. Not first. That's not the very first thing he did. His spirit was moving on the face of the deep. But when he made creatures and stuff, he made the beasts and everything. So those were before man. The creatures came before man came. Right here. Now we're going to get back to the science. Okay. Perhaps the most widely used argument, this is what you heard in school, for millions of years old Earth historically has been the rock layers of the geological column. It would take millions of years for thousands of meters of material beneath us to accumulate and lithify. Or so the argument goes. Is that true? A polystrate fossil is a single fossil that spans more than one geological stratum. Many more polystrate tree trunk fossils have been discovered, as well as baleen whale, swamp plants called calamites, and catfish. Polystrate fossils prove that both the rock layer of the geological column and the surfaces between them do not require millions of slow and gradual accumulation and lithification. After all, how could a tree escape its inevitable decay while sticking out of the ground for millions of years, with its roots dead and lithified? While awaited to be slowly covered with sediment, polystrate fossils provide evidence that the rock strata have formed rapidly, fast enough to preserve organic materials before their decay. Any old Earth evolutionary dating technique relies on the uniformitarian assumption. Whatever processes we witness occurring today, we must be used to explain the past. If petrifying a tree, forming oil, carving a canyon, transforming the parent isotopes, I think I'm saying that right. If a radioactive rock into their daughter elements, moving continents several miles away would take millions of years at lithification. It says transformation, erosion, decay, and drift rates we see today. The Earth must be at least millions of years old. If, however, each of these processes are shown, this is what they're not teaching you in school or your kids, occur rapidly under catastrophic conditions. Okay? So when we look in the Bible, what do we see? Catastrophic conditions. It's talked about the flood, the worldwide flood, and all that stuff. And what would happen? Volcanoes would have erupted all over the earth. Catastrophic conditions. Predicted by the young earth biblical model, then those processes cannot be used to prove an old earth. Sure, so you can't even use it. If a catastrophic event like that happened, if it happened, and it's very possible that it has, and I believe it has, then the old earth theory would not work. Sure enough, as creationists have predicted would be the case, each of these processes has been empirically verified as occurring rapidly under catastrophic conditions like those of the biblical flood. Petrification has been found to be able to occur in mere months to a few years under catastrophic conditions. So we got that million all smashed down to 1,000 years. You know what I mean? Just that easily. So easily that story is all blown apart. Now, it says that oil has been shown to form in hundreds to thousands of years. And it says the rapid carving of canyons has been verified to occur under catastrophic conditions as well. Studies have verified that the nuclear decay rates of radioactive material can be accelerated under catastrophic conditions, and evidence for the rapid movement in the past of the plates upon which the continents reside has been verified. Like, how the Earth, they say that over time they say this happened over millions of years. This is saying this is possible to happen way faster than that under catastrophic conditions. And that said to the old Earth, are contradicted by the evidence. The old Earth is contradicted by the evidence. Then where is the evidence of an old Earth? So there is a lot of evidence to say that these dinosaurs and the Earth is not as old as we've been taught for so long. And that these giant creatures were left behind in the old world when God flooded. Before God flooded, they probably passed and stuff like that. But, there was definitely large beasts and stuff like that. This all happened before the flood. And, that I think over 1,000 years passed after before the flood even came. So these things that we're being taught, they're just so easily, just like the whole story is just easily blown apart. It says now it says these dinosaurs is not as old as we've been thought, and that these giant creatures were left behind in the old world when God flooded the whole earth. Here's some more support that is very interesting, that this is the proof how accurate the Bible seems to line up with scientific studies. Ironically, if our calculations are adjusted based on the predictions of the model, now the predictions of the model, roughly 4,350 years ago. So, biblically, there was a flood over 4,350 years ago, okay? So this flood happened like thousands of years ago, right? And say we started off with Noah, like the Bible says, right? Scientifically, this is what they came up with. A flood ensued that wiped out man from the face of the earth. If the planet then began to repopulate by six people, namely the sons of Noah and their wives, statistics show that there should be roughly about 6.7 to 8.1 billion people on this planet today, as of today. Now, the U.S. as of today, Census Bureau documents that the world's population is 7.5 billion. And you remember it was 6.7 to 8.1 billion. That was what the estimate was statistically on their studies. Now, when they lined up with what we are, it's right there, right there. So, now explain to me this million-year-old Earth and stuff. Our planet, logically, would be way more populated with man. You feel what I'm saying? So, now, say the flood did happen. Say this flood did happen and actually take place. Like what the Bible was saying about the flood, like it really happened. You know what I mean? And we started populating with the family of Noah. And we're all descendants of Noah. Say we're all descendants of Noah. Right? We would be about exactly what we're at today. So you can tell me if you want to believe what they taught you in school or you want to believe this. There's scientific evidence to support this. There's scientific evidence to support that. But if we had a worldwide catastrophic event, it does not even work. You can't even use it. So you choose. You choose. You can decide for yourself. You know what I mean? But I believe God. I believe in the Bible. And I don't believe it ignorantly. But much love, y'all. Peace.